Okay, everybody. Today I wanted to talk about a little bit of this, a little bit of that, so I'll get right into it. We're going to be talking about the war in Russia and Ukraine, as well as something I noticed when I was watching a music video recently. Granted, quite dated music video, but I just thought maybe I'd throw it in at the end. And then I also had a quite sick roast for a comment I read under a TYT video. So a little bit of everything today, a little bit of an odd show, but what can I say? For those who are wondering, I'm hoping to try to start being able to do shows daily for every weekdays, as in a daily show Mondays through Fridays. That's something I would like to accomplish one day, though I should say that I can be quite forgetful, and I've been having a lot of homework these last weeks. So whether I'll actually be able to accomplish that, don't maybe don't give your hopes up, but something I've thought about doing. So perhaps we're going to get a daily version of this. So this is a comment I would like to read for you. Someone named Caesar decided to respond to my comment, but thought better of it and tried to delete it. It was sent to me anyway. This is what he wrote. Caesar replied, "Ooh, ah, monkey emoji. Give me a monkey dance, a monkey emoji." Here's what I don't get. And this is the part I wanted to talk about, because this is the part where the comment gets really messed up. Here's what I don't get. At least 95% of those who participate in the January 6th riot and the storming of the Capitol were white. Some literally climbed the outside walls of the Capitol. They yelled, they screamed, they screeched. One even handled his own feces and smeared it on the walls of the Capitol. So what does that tell you? And yet this POS calls me and anyone who looks like me a monkey. It wouldn't even surprise me at all if trash either participated in January 6th or at the very least agreed with the day's events. So if you've grown up on mainstream media like I have, you might just, your automatic reaction, natural reaction to be to accept that and be like, oh, well, you have some good points. But no, we know that we need to de-brainwash ourselves from the mainstream media, the globalist, social Marxist mainstream media, and start talking about these things in serious terms. So the common insult for white people from these black people is cracker. And uh, what is the origin of this word? What does it even mean? In the late 1800s, the word started being used because it was the cracking of the whip when slaves were being beaten. So to call someone a cracker, cracking the whip, is to call someone a slave owner who whips, tortures their slaves. But here's something I wanted to talk about. So when everyone in the world was currently practicing slavery and had been practicing slavery for thousands and thousands of years, the first country to abolish slavery was Britain, which is a white country and was almost totally white at that time. Or at least the leaders were totally white, and it's the leaders that make the rules. Go look at a list of where modern slavery still exists. You're not going to find very many white countries on it. It's almost exclusively blacks and browns who are still practicing slavery in the 21st century. The West is one of the few places where slavery still isn't practiced in some form of another, in the sense that a sweatshop is arguably slavery. And uh, if we look at the beginning of the supply chains of slavery, it was in Africa. 2,000 naval white men died on the sea trying to stop slavery because the African kings were rounding up their own people. They had them in cages waiting on beaches. Nobody was running into Africa to get them. So I don't think white people are the real monkeys, as that comment seemed to imply. I think black people are the real crackers. So, going on the news of the Russian Ukrainian war, there's a major white pill out of it right now. We're going to win. Our side is going to win. So, Putin is on the verge of winning the war. Everyone's saying, well, I think Zelensky is just going to have to throw his hands up and surrender, wave the white flag, wave the French flag. Um, because by all means, the Ukrainians are losing and our side is winning. So there is some good news in the world, believe it or not. And then recently I was watching this music video from the 1980s. I know, boomer moment. Um, but it was Money for Nothing. You can look it up. It's the worst CGI I've ever seen, but regardless of that, um, there was something in it I noticed that I thought was interesting. So the whole video is about these movers, people who move things for a living, complaining about the artist who wrote this song. He's essentially straw manning in the form of music. But the thing about the song is, when I listened to it, I agreed with the workers. I thought they were right. I thought they were correct. I thought they were non-erroneous. They would say, so when you really think about it, who really works harder in their day-to-day lives? Someone who has to move heavy things for many hours a day, um, 5 to 7 days a week, or a rock star. Quite obviously, it's the worker. And I do agree with the movers that they deserve more money and more praise than the rock stars. I think movers, or at least a lot of movers, um, deserve more money and more praise than rock stars, or at least most rock stars. So again, I think they do work harder than rock stars, but also rock stars promote degeneracy almost all the time, promoting women into promiscuous sex. A lot of them promoted homosexuality in the 80s when it was still taboo, and other queer nonsense. And they also, their whole lifestyle and this celebration of them is a trick by the social Marxists and globalists to hurt white people. So not only is trying to encourage whites to live a uh, promiscuous, degenerate, and uh, slutty lifestyle in their best interest, because by doing that, it's usually done with birth control or abortions, that sort of stuff in these cases. So there will be less white children. And if there are less white people, it's automatically simply easier to replace white people. And then, in addition to that, if they tell these young men that they can become filthy rich by blasting rock, black music, not even a good Aryan music, then this encourages them to follow that lifestyle or attempt to follow that lifestyle rather than becoming something meaningful like a race realist, white identitarian politician or something like that. So, and also, those two workers were based, saying the F word, based, um, talking about chicks like their property, based. Um, uh, okay, so a little bit tongue in cheek at the end there, but yeah, I think this is an example of how these oftentimes left wing or at least liberal rock stars and celebrities try to demonize someone, but at the end of the day, said person a lot of times is basically right. I don't know, a little bit tongue in cheek with this last part of the video, but just something I was watching and something I thought would be fun and entertaining to comment on. Well, I think um, maybe stop talking about that. Um, but I do think there is something very interesting in the Russian Ukrainian conflict, which is that by all means, we should have known this would happen. Of course, Russia would win. Ukraine is this tiny, dirt poor, impoverished country, and Russia is a world power up there with China and the US. Of course, Russia is going to win. Why would we think otherwise? And this shows the power of the social Marxist and globalist mainstream media's brainwashing. They were able to convince us through turning Vladimir Zelensky, and the Ukrainian people into gods on earth, and shoving Ukrainian flags in your face, shoving the blues and the yellows, the blue and the yellow in your face instead of red, white, and blue. And that basically tricked everyone, even a lot of based and red pill people like me, into believing that Ukraine was going to win, when quite clearly we are going to win and they're going to lose. Me and Vladimir Putin are going to win this war, and the Ukrainian people are going to lose. And that's what is going to happen. And we're going to cheer that on. Well, I think I'll call it good for today's video. Again, not really very good at streaming, just practicing to teach myself how to stream to start being able to make better videos. Um, Hoping to upload some real good videos and also maybe uh, accomplish daily streaming Mondays through Fridays, though, again, um, sort of a long shot on someone like me doing something that routine and respectable. Well, see you guys later.